So what I did is I actually took one of these and transformed it. Mindful Children. My name is Scarlett. I have 10 years of experience in working in the early childhood field as well as studying early childhood. So if you have children in your personal life or professional life, then this is the place to be, because we love giving information so children can get the best possible quality care and education to set them up for success through mindful practices. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different and do a little bit of a haul with you. So looking out for recycled materials is actually one of my favorite things to do, because recycled materials is a great way to get creative as an educator, but also is a way to inspire children to see the potential in materials. It's easy to get, let's say, a bracelet and use it as a bracelet. But you can set up provocations that make them think, okay, what can I do with these materials? And so I want to show you everything that I got from a Reuse It center that's local in my city. I'm not sure if you have a Reuse It center in your city, but looking out for recycled materials can be going to a store that's dedicated to that, such as a Reuse It center, or even just going online and searching in those community groups where people sell and buy things. You can ask, does anyone collect containers? Does anyone have vinyls? And see what people have and see what people will offer you. But honestly, the ideas are endless. And when I go to Reuse It Center, my mind starts going wild. So I want to share that with you. All right, let's jump right in. So over here, I have a recycled tire. Now a tire, what can't you do? The obvious, put it outside. For toddlers, they can crawl in and out. For older children, they can jump in and out. What about bringing it into the classroom? Well, you can do a DIY ball pit, fill it with a bunch of balls for infants and toddlers to sit in. You can turn it into a cozy area so children of all ages can have blankets and books to have some alone time. You can even paint the tires with the children inside and use it for decoration in so many different ways. I know some people plant in them, turn it into like a shelf, so you can do that. Okay, another idea is vacuum pieces. Yes, I know, it's so strange, right? But I like to have these vacuum pieces in the block center or outside as well. But honestly, children move these and use them in everything. I've seen children use it in experimenting. They made mazes, ball mazes, marble mazes, and building as well. Children have built with these, and there's a lot of little pieces that come with it. Actually, this is not part of the vacuum. I'm not even sure what this is part of, but I found it at the Reuse It Center. And well, when I'm looking, I don't like to buy things mindlessly. This is Mindful Children after all. But I look at it and think, is this, first of all, cleanable? Is it safe? Can it be used long term? And so if it can be disinfected and it is pretty sturdy, then I'll take it and see what children do. I might start off with a few, and if it goes well, I might go back and get some more. We've even done a whole exercise program using this and cones. And you put the cone on top and they were balancing and they were moving, catching the cone, right? And they were passing along the cone. It can even be for outside in a mud kitchen, stirring a big pot of mud. Endless. Okay, cardboard. Now cardboard is something that it's not gonna last a long time. So if I'm getting cardboard, I know that I can't clean it, I can't wash it, but it can last for a week. So perhaps you would look at what are you doing the following week or this week and see if it fits into your programming, or just leave it out for a week and let children explore with it. Containers. Containers are things that are washable, so you can use them forever, so they're great to have. You can just, we have these in our dramatic play area, and children open them, and these are fun. You just push. Never mind, this one's not that. But you can open and close it, and children put little things in here. They put it in their bags, they pretend it's sunscreen, they put pretend food in there, they pretend it's their snack, they pretend it's a mirror, they pretend it's a phone. It's honestly endless. And what's great is that I know that children will all eventually go through a phase of being interested in transporting or filling and dumping. So if you see children filling and dumping, this is great for that too. You can set it out with water, mud, small marbles, whatever is appropriate for the age of the children you work with, and they can fill and dump it. Or you can do transporting. You can slide down some marbles into here, close it up like it's some type of jewelry factory or something. Honestly, the ideas are endless, but what I like to do with children is just set it out. I'm like, okay, they like transporting. I'm gonna set this out with different jewels and objects that fit in here, and they can show me what they want to do with it. Now these are fun because you can do a lot with this. The ideas are endless. You can get children, if they're interested in stacking or vertical dynamic, they can fill it up and stack things in different, I set out beads of different colors. They can put patterns of beads in here if they want. And these, so having little containers that you can actually see through them is great. So you can put food coloring in them and use the little droppers to take food coloring from this one, move it to this one. So that's transporting, or you can see how colors change. So put different primary colors and then mix them together and see what happens. So you can do experimenting, but having clear containers have endless potential. So I love to have these on hand. Now, sometimes you go and you see things and you're like, I don't know, I'm gonna get a few and see what happens. What I have been doing with these is children have been putting string and pulling it through. Children have just put it across and have used it as a bridge, but it's also a nice calming activity, so children can just go like this. If you have something like a pencil, you can turn it into a musical instrument. So again, there's just an opening on either end so things can go through it, which is always great. And then it's always good for fine motor activities when you know that things can go in and out of it. So what I like to do with these is I have used them as drumsticks. You can use drumsticks and you can make songs that are with drumsticks, but use recycled materials if you don't have musical sticks. Okay, vinyls. First of all, how hilarious is this? It's the bird dance. Okay, so vinyls. Flat, you can do a lot of things with these. So if they're interested in rolling objects, this is a rolling object. You can even do a whole bunch of gross motor using this activity, balancing it on your head, balancing it on your hands, transferring, catching. All right, and spinning it as well. Wow, sorry, I'm getting a little bit hyper. But there's a lot of things you can do with gross motor. And then there's, of course, just the fact that it's aesthetically pleasing. You can set it out as a placemat anywhere. You can put it on your shelves to display books. And when you have different books to go with what you're learning about, you can put the book right on top, nice and open, and children will just have a more aesthetically pleasing classroom to enter into, which is always nice. Use these as something to sit on. If children need their own designated place to sit, so you can say, find a vinyl, find your spot, that's your safe spot. Or, now what's fun is that if you have discovered sanitize these in your sanitizing machine, it is very likely that they might do a little bending. So it's curving, and so what I like about that is that you can get it to place it on the floor and have cars go down and up and around it. Now that is a fun way to use materials in a unique way, but children always have their own ideas too, so just setting out some flat ones and some that have some bends in them and see what the children do. These are cool for multiple reasons. First of all, I love to find unique ways to display children's work. And I know it's very common for educators or parents to display their drawings or paintings, anything that they made on paper. But what about the creations that they make with little Lego pieces or block pieces? How can we display that, is what I ask myself. And this is one way. You can put this standing You can even put like a sticky note with the child's name and when they made it and the creation inside, and so it's nice and safe. You can even use this in the science center, that children can use a magnifying glass and look at objects through it. Children have stacked them and turned squares and put little animals in here. If they're into enclosing, this is a great way to enclose objects. And if they're into stacking, they can stack objects. It is much more interesting to stack objects that are not perfectly made, such as your typical blocks. If you are giving children uniquely shaped things to stack, it takes a lot more cause and effect, trial and error. Cassettes. I love having a bunch of cassettes on hand. There's just a lot to do. First of all, deconstruction. It's a great thing to deconstruct. It's also great for calming a child down because they can just pull and pull and pull on the tape. And it's endless opportunity to just calm their body down. I did not grow up using these, or I have no memory of these being around in my life. But when I went to a reason center, I found a few books like this where it had cassettes and some type of pages. And so this one, what's this one about? I don't even know. It's about self-development. I'm actually into that stuff. So anyways, it's self-development. So they would, I guess, listen to cassettes and follow along in this workbook. Now, this is super interesting. So what I did is I actually took one of these and transformed it. I haven't transformed this one yet. So I'll show you the one that I did transform. Ta-da! So what I did, I put it for my calming area. I put a picture here that says just breathe. And so when children need some calming time, they have these cassettes to pull on the tape. They'll pop one out, pull on the tape. Here's a larger one if they want. And they can also turn these, which is pretty interesting. And then in here I put some essential oils, are so empty ones. They're empty ones, but they still have the smell. I can actually smell it as soon as I open, so children can use their sensory, use this as a sensory activity for calming down. I even included little, I don't want to show you the pictures, but I made a little clip with pictures of the children with different emotions. So I took their picture and I put curious, surprised, shocked, sad, angry. And then I also took pictures of children and I made a little booklet of them doing our different breathing. We have our breathing, that one child is displaying balloon breathing, hot chocolate breathing, smell the flower breathing, so different breathing activities are in here. These are actually from Home Depot. They're color samples. So I got a bunch of color samples. And even I like to have these where they have different color samples inside as a booklet. And children can look at the different colors, cut them out, and it creates a really nice aesthetically pleasing background if you are doing some type of experimenting with colors. Now, you can also transform those, and I transformed, here's an idea, using these into a calendar. So I used an empty picture frame that I had already. I used these rows of colors, so I just put them here, and I put the days of the week on top, and I use a erasable marker to put the month and the days. Family have a calendar, but honestly, you can do so many things with these colors. I love them. I've even just cut them up and put them in a container, and children have used them as little steps for their animals to walk across. They've used it to make soup. So many ways to use it. This has pictures. So at the Reason Center that I go to, they have a full bin of people's old pictures, photographs. And so finding ones of nature is great to just, you can laminate them. This one's not laminated yet, but you can laminate them and display them throughout the room as inspiration. You can pull them out to talk about how seasons are changing. You can use them for identifying emotions. Green is calm and it shows green in nature. If you can find something in nature that's red, yellow for happy, right? Pink for love. But you can also just use them as an open-ended experience, put them out on a table and see what children do with them, and providing different loose parts that also have colors so they can match colors. And actually from Home Depot, going back to there, I also get samples, floor samples, and these are pretty steady. They actually do sanitize, which is nice as well, and there are no nails or anything on them. This one is great for younger children because it's so light. So there are some really light ones, so it's safer for younger children. There's some heavier ones for older children, but having these available in your construction area or outside to build obstacles is great. Over there, I have fabric samples. Now, fabric samples are a great sensory thing that you can have for children to just touch in a calming area. You can have it as background places to display children's work. You can also have fabric samples for children to cut up, or if they're already cut up, they can use it and they can we've put them on frames. So we put the fabric pieces on the frames and children have played on there, or children have taken different samples and placed them in frames as their own creation of mixing colors and layering. Layering is amazing. Also, you can get picture frames from Reuse It Center. Empty ones is great. You can put it flat on a table. Children can fill it to make patterns or designs using marbles of different colors, jewels of different colors. You can talk about emotions. Now, of course, there is the typical things like yogurt containers. My Reuse It Center has so many different kinds of containers. I love these square ones because drums, you can also walk on them. Younger children, maybe not me, but yeah, younger children can walk on them, which is fun. You can fill them and dump them. You can even fill it with snow in the winter, stack snow pieces, wet sand, mud, using it just as in your construction area for stacking and balancing objects on top of each other. Amazing. Over here I have a bunch of lids. Now, lids are kind of interesting because you can, first of all, poke a hole. So going through a barrier, I love to find things where we can go through a barrier when children are kind of into going through things or poking holes, things like that. So yeah, you can string a bunch of these together, great for fine motor. There's the closed ones that you can use. So these, you can poke holes in them as well for stringing, or you can just use it as little display. I've had children where they would use it and put little food on them and say, I made you something. So little placemats or plates, they can be used in so many ways, honestly. Now, where I go, there is also a lot of picture frames. So this is photo albums. This is a big one. I believe there's here it is, a smaller one. So in these, I've transformed them to family albums, pictures of children, field trips, or what you can also do is set out, for example, the building area, you can set out famous buildings as inspiration for creating. You can take pictures of children's actual work that you're not able to save. Like, let's say they created something huge with a bunch of recycled materials. Take a picture of it, put it in here for inspiration for other children, and it's another form of displaying children's work. You can quote them and put the date and their age and their name. So many things you can do with photo albums, but I love that you can personalize them for the children in your classroom. It makes them feel very included and like they belong here. This is their space, especially if you are working with children professionally, because of course at home it's home, but trying to let children know that this is a safe place for them and this is their place to be themselves. And little things like having pictures of them around and displaying their work really brings that in, that sense of belonging. Now, this is just a big bin of things that my team and I collect. There's clear containers. Like I said, clear containers, you can do so much with clear containers. I even did a science experiment once with snow. I filled it up with snow. We said what will happen to snow when we're inside. course it melted, but when it melted, the water was only up to here. It wasn't all the way up. So we talked about that. And yeah, we have so many things. We have more clear containers. Having realistic materials in your house area is really nice. So children feel that their play is taken seriously. It's not pretend things. This is for real things that they might see in their house, and it's in the play area. More containers, different sizes, more frames, more vacuum pieces. Now these are pretty interesting. I'm not sure what they are. Can someone please tell me in the comment section what is this? Because my center had, or where I went to buy, had so many. So I've had them in every room in the block center because they stack. You can connect them. I also have them outside because for the bigger ones, you can step on them. Put it here, balance on top. I've also used them outside because you can put actually a pool noodle. Let's pretend this is a pool noodle in here. Stick it up and you can use it as an obstacle for children to run through the pool noodles. You can use it for them to knock down the pool noodle. You can use it for using it to toss it, ring toss. If you have some type of rings to toss in, you can do that. Jewelry. So jewelry. Here we have bracelet. You can, of course, depending on the age, set it up for children to dress up, but you can also use it for stacking. So what I did, I set out, it was with a cardboard paper towel tube and something like this. And they're using their fine motor skills. You can also get them to create patterns depending on the age and the colors of bracelets you have. And then, of course, I also have rings, so you can even put a pencil up and children can stack rings and create patterns or just designs. When I'm setting up loose parts to see what children come up with, I look at similarities. For example, all of these are circles, so I could find a lid and put this size of lid. Children can stack them by size and then put something, a medium-sized bracelet and a ring in the middle, so you have big, medium, small. Or they can just create designs on here using bracelets and rings and other circular objects like wood chips. Hi, it's Scarlett. As you can see, I have my whole full face now. I'm not sure what happened and I am so sorry about that for the last clip there. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you had any ideas of how to use those recycled materials, please write it down so that you can inspire me and I can inspire you and we can inspire each other, and most importantly, we can inspire children. Well, please subscribe and like this video and I'll see you in the next. Bye bye.